You've been out and about. You're meeting people who are campaigning. Tell us what you've been doing and what people are themselves doing in order to fight back against this horrific system which has installed itself in the UK.
Yes, Brian, I want to say that, first of all, I think that what they did to us in 2020 and beyond really, I think, stopped the feeling of community, the feeling of what it is like to be around other people, the feeling of working together. And I personally believe that the whole technocracy that was behind that was very deliberate. So this past weekend, as has been announced on UK Column for the past few weeks, I attended the Thetford Truth and Freedom Festival, and I was asked to give a talk on the topic of the importance of physical materials in the digital age. So as you'll see here at my first slide that shows this image of Aowolf, of Monsters and Middle School. So one of the many reasons why it's so important to preserve physical materials is that they're changing things, and they're changing things that we might have known from our childhood, that people might have known from previous, literature, previous things that are now being changed digitally. And when things are changed digitally, or when they're removed, we don't know it quite as well as when things have been sitting on our shelves for years. So I gave a talk on this. So there's just a photo here of me with my UK column banner, which was donated by Jenny, who made one of our banners for us in Cheltenham and is now behind me here in my own studio, along with one of the organizers, Mark, who's up there in the front. And so that was me sort of giving my talk at the on the Friday. So there were several talks throughout the Friday and Saturday. Overall, I would say that the focus was on bringing people together and looking at alternatives. They passed out business cards that said that the aim of the festival was to raise your frequency and vibration with great music, great information, and some great company. And I think all of those were definitely achieved. So, for example, some of the talks were focusing on parallel systems, as Ben talks about frequently. There were talks about the spiritual war that Brian talks about frequently, and what happens when we awaken to these entities and the agenda. Bob from Thetford Council Watch, who Brian has interviewed previously, was in attendance, and I spoke with him for a while. There was some legal advice on how to protect your assets using trusts, and including the issues around inheritance tax. The idea of direct democracy, which is the right to call for referendums on important local issues and other things. So basically bringing back real democracy to the people where it belongs originally. Kim Isherwood was not there in person, but she did give a recorded talk about the work that she continues to do, the excellent work with Public Protection Wales. There was a veteran called Chris Thrall, who is a YouTuber, who gave a talk about how he is planning to climb Mount Everest in 2026. And he is going to do this to support veterans dealing with complex PTSD. And he's asking for everyone for financial donations to help him do that. And there was a really good discussion around the English Constitution at the end of Saturday. I have some photos here to kind of give some idea of what was happening throughout the weekend. The first one here is some people from a group called the Community Assembly of the British Isles. You can look them up on their website and get more information. They were saying that they are working with individuals and local communities to help preserve and protect our core rights and values. There are also some other stalls available. There was one here from Louise's Radiant Art. She was selling some items that I may have spent some money at on her booth there, which is, we can see that on the next slide. If we can bring up a picture of her stall, there's her Louise's stall. There was another one there called Solar Sphere Healing Oils and Tinctures, which offers natural approaches to dealing with health issues. There's the stall there for some things for sale. There was a natural healer we can see on the next slide called Stephen Carl, where he had a little place set up where you could deal with that and sort of get a spiritual healing from him. And we also had in attendance, we had someone who was, I guess, claiming to be Thomas Paine, born in Thetford. He played a role in the American and French revolutions, if you don't know who he is, but he advocated for the revolutions, and he is a Thetford native. What was really interesting to see was the amazing support for UK Column that was throughout the festival, and I had a really great time with some of this. Talking to these people. Here's some signs that were originally provided to us. I believe this was at our Bristol event last year. So I've got an updated version from the person who made those, saying UK Column is the antidote to mainstream propaganda. What else do we have here? We have a photo with me with one of our members with that very thing on his T-shirt. So we had some really great conversations, and he told me some information about what he's doing with his MP. There's a picture of Jenny, and she set up her own little stand with copies of the light paper and some UK column information, including, if you can see it at the bottom there, a screenshot of Charles and Brian together at the desk. It's a very large printout of a screenshot that she had available. What else do we have here? Some more photos. This was a lady who wanted me to show that she had her badges on her hat. So on one side we have Watch UK Column News, and the other side we have I Love CO2. So those are both, of course, badges that we have for sale in the shop. She wanted to make sure that I had photographed those. And so some other things we have here, some people made some stickers of all of us presenters saying safe and effective around each of our photos. So I have several sheets of these stickers for everyone, of all of us presenters. It was good to see this kind of effort put into, and I think that we truly are safe and effective at UK Column compared to other news outlets and compared to other things that they could be doing to us, Brian. So I'll have some more about this in extra. I have some more photos to share, but overall, I just want to say that it was a great weekend and a great chance for people to come together with like minds to solve the real problems that are happening on the ground and practical solutions for what we can do about them.
Diane, thank you very much for being there, and thank you for that report. And yes, it is great to see more and more people who are doing something. This is the start, isn't it? Standing up to be counting, doing your research, challenging the system and getting more people on board. So I think we've got some really encouraging news in our UK column news content today, and we know this is going to grow. And of course, the more people that give support to these sorts of initiatives, the faster they're going to grow. Okay.